Well, thanks for joining us on another edition of A Test of Time. This one is with a difference. It's World Cup final T20, 16th of May 2010. And my old teammate for over 18 years, Paul Collingwood, captain of England, is going to tell his story.
If the Harmison gets his reward, it's been a brilliant spell of bowling. Harmison bowled a superb opening spell.
5 wickets for Stephen Harmison. Stephen Harmison, take a bow.
You win the semi-final. I read a story. Andy Flower didn't want you to celebrate too much because the final was just round the corner. and I read that you refused. Is that true?
I didn't want to change anything.
Yeah.
And what we've been doing in the lead up to the final had been working. And that was, as I said, the training was working, the confidence-based drills, the cricket on the pitch, but also the camaraderie off the pitch was working. And look, I'm happy to say now, we part after every win, we partied hard. And I'd said that to Andy. I said, I want this 3 weeks, 4 weeks to be almost take it back down to when you play amateur cricket. Because that's when you have your most fun. There's no pressure on you. You know, you're not playing for money. You're not playing for World Cups. You play amateur cricket because you love the game. And I almost wanted to take it back, strip it all back to that. And, you know, enjoying a beer in the dressing room after the pitch, going out partying together and enjoying the win. And the semi-final came around, and obviously you're thinking, oh, we got the World Cup coming up. And I remember Andy tapped us on the shoulder, and we had a couple of big sessions, I have to admit, after a couple of the wins. And Andy tapped us and said, I think you boys might just have to ease it down tonight. And I kind of laughed. I said, mate, we've just won a semi-final. I know we haven't won the World Cup, but whatever we're doing so far is working. Let's leave the boys to it, and let's just enjoy the night. And then we'll hit the World Cup as hard and as happy as we can be. And again, look, it's easy to say these things now, and if it hadn't worked, then I'm sure Andy would have been on my case. But I remember just going into that World Cup final thinking, we've got it. We've actually, without sounding overconfident, we were coming up against a good Aussie side, but they didn't scare me. It wasn't a side that actually. They had plenty of pace, and I quite enjoyed that. I thought, with that amount of pace, it only takes half a bat to get it away, especially in Barbados, nice bouncy pitch, short boundaries. I really felt as though we'd do well against them, and it was just amazing that that last game was. It was really like the perfect storm. It was the perfect game for us. Nothing really went wrong for us.
And a few months ago on A Test of Time, Vaughan did Old Trafford, 2005. And he had a little bit of a moment where the young kid mascot, who made him just sort of take a little bit of a realization of, where you are and enjoying the moment. Mascot walking out.
Yeah. You
had something similar on the final day with your mascot.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are little moments like that throughout a World Cup or an Ashes series. There's little moments sometimes that just go your way, and they don't have to. Sometimes it might be a little bit of luck in the match itself, a decision. It might be just something that you think, oh, that could have gone the other way, but it hasn't, and it's gone our way. And I just remember, we were obviously leading the mascots out. We had a mascot each. And I was quite nervous. I remember being quite nervous before the game. And I just remember getting a hold of this young girl's hand, and I said to her, oh, what's your name? And she looked up at me and she went, Lucky. And I just thought,
you've got it.
Perfect. Just absolutely perfect. It couldn't have been a better name. I just thought that'll do me. I'm leading out, and I was just so happy. I almost just felt calm after that.
So after losing 3 quick wickets, Warner goes, Haddon goes, Watson goes, are you thinking, mascot's lucky? What a start I've just had. What a start I've just had.
It was incredible. I mean, City was actually bowling decent pace,
Yeah.
and he was swinging the ball, and that kind of the tackiness at Barbados on the pitch was creating quite a bit of bounce. And usually, I would only look to bowl City 1, maybe 2 overs in the first 6, and then hold him back for the back end. But he was taking wickets. He was running in hard, and I had to keep him going. So I almost took a little bit of a gamble. I took him, bowled him 3 overs off the trot, I think, and he was just magnificent. The catch by Kiesy down the leg side. Again, those are little moments that could go the other way, but he managed just to, get that fingertip onto it and grasp the catch. And things were just, the momentum, the atmosphere, everything about it just felt, this is ours. Australia obviously came back pretty hard. I think they scored something like 100 in the last 10 overs, but still they'd only got 147 or 149. I can't remember which, but it wasn't many. And I knew at half time, I thought, this is our game. Yeah. Small boundary. You've got a wind out there that helps you hit to the short boundary as well, and it just really felt like our game, and it's quite exciting.
You talk about City, and City was crucial for you with the left arm, and you spoke about how in the IPL back end of overs, and you did speak and you mentioned briefly about Swanee and Yardy and their partnership in the middle. I think Swanee went for 17 runs in 4 overs in a World Cup final. And if there was ever a tournament made for Swanee, it's 12. If there was ever a game made for Swanee, and the showman that Swanee is, it's the World Cup. It's a shorter format, 20 overs when somebody's going at him. How crucial were they at that time? Yeah. Because Clark and Hussey got a partnership, but they never really got away from you. Couldn't hit boundaries.
Yeah, they couldn't. And, I guess it's a different era back then. Swanee was great at having a mid-wicket in. I was obviously mid-wicket on the 1. They didn't have reverse sweeps. They didn't kind of put finger spinners under that kind of pressure where they can manipulate the field around. And Swanee had the wind, he does turn the ball. And one thing that Swanee does is going to make you hit the ball into the leg side if you're a right-handed batsman. And that was hitting into quite a strong breeze. So, they didn't want to take a risk against him. So, he was instrumental right away throughout that tournament. A lot of people had a lot of respect for him. So, first of all, they didn't want to get out to him. So, his economy rates were fantastic. He may not have got the amount of wickets, but he certainly took wickets at the other end. So, people had to take risks against Yards. And Yards might pick up the wickets that Swanee actually deserved. But they were a great combination in those middle overs, and it was pretty simple for me. From my point of view, I had 6 overs of high quality seam bowling from different angles, from different heights, and all we ever spoke about was heavy length straight, and then get out of the over with at the last ball, whether it be a Yorker or a slow ball, and put your mid on back. It was. I know it sounds ridiculously simple, but that was how we went about our cricket. And then through the middle overs, you just put the 2 spinners on, and then you would put you put City on in the last 5 overs with Brezzy trying to hit the block hole, etc. So it was a pretty simple game plan that we had, but it worked. Nobody was, the slow ball bounces and stuff. Nobody was actually coming up with a plan against it or figuring it out. So we kept doing it. And almost when you win World Cups or you win tournaments, you've got to be a step ahead of the rest and do something that's different to everyone else. And I think that was probably the one thing that we were doing different to other teams. And we had the bowlers to execute it. I mean, City's an interesting one because I know, obviously, we had Jimmy Anderson in the sidelines and we were under pressure quite a lot. Such a skillful bowler in Jimmy that to play him. But I'm glad we held firm with City. I'm glad that we actually got them through all the way to the final because I think that left arm angle was really instrumental in just having a different approach. And as you've seen in the final, he was absolutely fantastic.
Cameron White gets 30 off 19 balls, I think it was. Hussey gets 50. You mentioned the score, 147 for 6 as England captain to win a World Cup, having performed the way he has performed. You're going off the field at half-time in Barbados. Are you thinking, we've got a chance here? We've got a great chance.
Well, it was, to be honest with you, it was more than a chance. If we were going to lose from that, we really messed it up.
Yeah.
But it was important that we went about it the same way as that we've gone about all of our cricket, and that was to take it to the opposition. And I thought the bravery that Kiesy and Lummy showed of actually going out there, and Kiesy, probably one of the hardest hitters of a cricket ball I've seen in world cricket, even up to this day. And I know a lot of people didn't see a lot of Kiesy, but he was actually way ahead of his game, if you know what I mean. He was someone who was willing to take the risks, and his innings just literally took the game away from Australia. And I thought it was important that we went about our business in a really attacking manner, and it was great. I mean, watching Mitchell Johnson and Sean Tate and guys who've got serious pace, and the boys are swinging harder and harder at them. It was amazing to watch. Obviously, from my point of view, I was a little bit nervous in the waiting to go in the bat, but I just thought the way they went about it was absolutely fantastic, and really took the game away from them in the first kind of 10, 12 overs.
And Peterson and Kieswetter, I agree. I think England were. I think they were robbed of another. I thought Kieswetter was going to come back in his career. He didn't have the eye injury that he had. I thought he was a fantastic cricketer. I really did. I thought the way his mentality, a bit like Kevin's mentality of just going at the ball. I think he would still would have been dominating for years to come. And it's such a shame that we didn't see more of him.
Yeah.
In the final, Kieswetter and Peterson, 111 for the second wicket. At what point in that dressing room did people start relaxing and think, we're going to be celebrating on the beach here with our party in Barbados and it's going home?
You know what it's like, though, Harmy. Cricket's got an amazing ability to bite you in the backside when you think you've got it home and hose. And I was nervous right the way to the last ball, to be honest with you. But, when you have a partnership like that, it just takes the guts out of the opposition. And those two players, the skill level, not just the skill level, but the bravery that they showed of actually going to a World Cup final, our first ever opportunity to win silverware, an ICC trophy. And these two guys would just look so brave and calm and confident. Full credit to how they went about it. And as I said earlier, I think KP's just the calmness he brought to the crease. The rest of us, we would swing like anything else, but he had the talent to be able to hit good length balls through the infield and almost make it just look so easy and calm that he's going to knock the runs off himself. But I think Steve Smith came on and I think he fancied taking them for 6 sixes and getting off the park as early as he could. But it was a magnificent performance right from start to finish. And as you said, it really was a case of lift that silverware and start celebrating. It was a great feeling.
And just before you lift that silverware and that great feeling came, last ball of the 17th over, Paul Collingwood's on strike. Last Englishman to hit the winning runs in a limited over World Cup final. Just describe that feeling as you're running away with the bat in the air.
I can't describe it because you actually don't have words for it. It's like everything you've ever played the game for, and all those emotions and feelings, you can't actually explain the joy and the euphoria that's going through your body at that time. And I just remember coming off the bat and just thinking, that's it, we've won. And it was, just the celebration of getting to the other end and just the celebration of actually looking up to the sky and all the players running out. You could see them running out. And I just wanted that moment to last forever. It was absolutely incredible. No, but it was something that I just wish I could feel again. But you know, the reason why you don't feel those times again, because they are once in a blue moon opportunities and feelings. And to me, it doesn't get any better than having your team coming out to hug you after hitting the winning runs and getting on the podium together and actually lifting that trophy. You know, it's special. It's something that can never be taken away from you, and you'll never lose that feeling of being a team together.
Does that take you back to your Shotley Bridge days of standing there at the end of a game, playing for the game that you love, when you're standing on the beach with a trophy in your hand?
Yeah, to be honest with you, yeah. I mean, I remember like playing under 16s for Shotley and winning the Cameron Shield back then. You know, with my brother in the side, and that's what it does, Harmy. You know what it's like playing for Ashington and Shotley Bridge. You play club cricket, and you play for the love of the game. And the more you go through your career, and I'm sure you'll be lads for this, the more pressure that gets on you. At times, the less you enjoy it.
Yeah.
And you've got to actually keep things in perspective of when you're playing cricket. What do you play it for? And it's actually a bat and ball, and you're on a field, and you play it because you love the game. And sometimes when you are playing international cricket, if you're going through a bad run of form or whatever it may be, it can get a bit too much for you, and it can get a game that I didn't play it for this reason. I didn't play it to be feel this bad about the game. And you know, when you get moments like that, win the World Cup, it takes you back to the amateur days of why you play it, and that was the special thing. We had a group of lads who bought into something, who enjoyed themselves. We weren't worried about the consequences, and we went out there and took it to the opposition, to every single opposition, and on that occasion we were better than them, and it was just a fantastic feeling. And I remember seeing a lot of the kind of the celebrations back home, the videos that were sent and stuff that was on social media of you know, cricket clubs, and I remember Shotley Bridge celebrating it afterwards, and just seeing the actual impact it had back home as well. Euphoria of winning a World Cup was that made us as happy as anything as well, just to see the how much joy it brought to a lot of people's faces, and you hope that in itself that it spurs the next generation on as well, that those kind of people who are watching at a young age want to go and do the same thing.
Well, it did spur the nation on, and it did spur a lot of people on to want to take up this great game of not only of cricket, but the new generation of 2020. And it did, you know, warm the hearts for the better in this country. Collie, thanks very much for sharing your.
That's all right. I'll tell you one more thing before I go. Phil Salt, when he came into the England side, he came up to us. He goes, "You won't remember me." He says, "But I was in the crowd when you won the World Cup." And he said he was only such a height. He wasn't a big lad, but he says I walked over to him in the crowd and I let him touch the World Cup. And he goes, it was an unbelievable moment. And I can't even remember it, to be honest with you. But I found it quite funny that a current England player now who smacks it around at the top of the order was actually in the crowd, and I give him a feel of the World Cup. So that was quite a nice little story.
Yeah, it's fantastic. The only thing I'm worried about now is every time somebody comes up to me and say, "I remember being at school when you won the 2005 Ashes," and I look at them thinking, "Geez, I must be old now. God, I must be old now." It's crazy, but yeah, nice to see you've touched the heart of a future England player, and I appreciate everything you've just told us. I'm sure everybody's going to enjoy the memories of a fantastic week, or 2 weeks of cricket. Back in 2010, culminating with Paul Collingwood lifting the World Cup T20. Brilliant. Thanks very much, Matt.
No worries. Cheers, Tommy.